Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4. We made it to week 4. I hope you had fun with the Mandalorian masks and value and color theory last week. I look forward to seeing those pictures if you have not already posted them, and bravo to those who have. This week, we're talking about texture. So, texture is how something looks. So, is it flowy? Is it smooth? Is it soft? Is it rough? So, we're going to practice texture by drawing characters with hair this week. So, one of our favorite hairy character friends would be Chewbacca. So, I have a picture that I found of Chewbacca that really had his hair going crazy when he was on Hoth in the snow. I thought that was a good example to help you guys be a little more free with your drawing. So, drawing texture. I also want you guys to practice freedom with your hands this week. So I have my pencil and my pencil sharpener. Let's get right to it. Okay. Again, if I'm drawing quickly, it's because I don't want these videos to be super long for you. So if you need to stop and pause or rewind, you're able to do that. That's what's so awesome about these flex classes. So let's get right to it. Let's go. So as you can see in my picture here of Chewie that I had done, I think I made his eyes a little too big in this one. So I'm going to redo this. So instead of drawing the circle for the head like I usually do, this time I'm going to actually start with the face part because the face part is a little bit different. You can't really see the round part of his head. And once we do the hair, it's going to be hard to erase those parts. So we're not going to do that. So I'm going to start with his eyes. So I still am going to make a T here, a very light T. Okay, just so I can show where his face is going to be. And again, this is very, very light because we don't want to be able to see this afterwards. I think I'm going to put his eyes about maybe this far apart. And this time I'm going to make them really small because I feel like I made them too big last time. If you look at a picture of Chewie, his eyes are, usually hidden under his hair. So I'm going to make them a little smaller this time. So you can always make something bigger, but sometimes it's more difficult to make things smaller once you draw them. So I'm going to make them a little dark because they're going to be hidden under the hair. Okay, so there's his little eyes. His nose comes down and he's got a very canine-like nose, but it's not. So it's like almost like a rounded triangle. So a canine-like nose. So I'm going to pause there really quickly. Okay, so his nose, when I'm looking at the picture, is actually closer to his eyes. So I'm going to pull it up. It's actually more up here. And it's dark. So it's got a dark nose here. I'm going to use my eraser later to do the highlights. But he does have like this rounded triangle type nose. His eyes are very small, but he has lots of dark hair around his eyes, where we're going to get to in just a minute. Now his mouth is probably about right here underneath. So this mouth is going to be closed. It's very long. He's got a long. I'm just scruffing this guy in, okay? Because again, he is a very scruffy looking nerf herder type of character here. I'm calling him a scruffy looking nerf herder. Okay. So a long, thin mouth. All right. That's the basic face that we've got here. Okay. So now what we do from this is draw the hair around the face. So his mouth might be even a little wider than that, but okay. So in drawing the hair, there's a couple of places that are very distinct, and I want to start with those. So the first part is around the eyes. Now watch what I'm doing here. Look how I'm just flicking it. Okay. I'm being very free. What I'm doing up here. If you guys want to practice on the side of your paper, just being free. I don't want you drawing each individual hair like this, because then it doesn't look like hair. Okay. Hair does sometimes move in a direction, but just like grass, it's a little random, you know? So as far as length and things like that. So I'm pulling it up around his eyes because the hair around his eyes is very dark. Okay. So I'm coming from the eyes and pulling out. Pulling out. Okay, so if you can see, it's not eyelashes. So don't worry about that. It is not eyelashes. It is the dark hair around his eyes. It's actually all around his eyes. So he's got some here. It's coming all around it. So to the point where it's difficult to even see his eyes here. So okay. Now his nose here is actually very light. So I'm not going to go into his nose area because that is a lighter area, but I'm going to make this all around his eye here up to his nose area. Okay. So we've got the dark part. Okay. Another part I want to look at is his mustache. So he's got a little bit of a mustache here coming out from under his nose, which the mustache being that his hair goes in this direction. So you've got a little line here and the hair is coming out. So I'm actually going to make 2 nostrils here too on his nose. And as far as the shading for the nose, or the darker value, is just going around the top edges there. His eyes are a very dark value, so I'm just going to color those in now. Okay, and then his mouth is also a dark value. Okay, so I've got his little mustache here all scruffed in. Now, these are darker lines. I'm going to try to draw a little lighter. So see how I'm holding the pencil high up here so that I'm a little free. Holding your pencil down here is good for details. Holding your pencil up here is good for trying to be free. And I use that word free because it's easier for me to understand. Like this is, I say, is tight. It's controlled. It's got cuffs on. Down here, you're letting the pencil be free. You can go light, you can go dark, you can go light, you could go dark, okay? So it's just a little more free. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is going back to it. Let's try to be a little free. So in the picture that I was looking at, his hair is blowing in the wind, but maybe why don't we just go ahead and draw regular Chewbacca? So because his hair is it's curly. Sometimes it's brushed. Sometimes it's not brushed. I'm going to make it to where it's not so brushed. So going around here, his hair is coming kind of out like this. See how I'm doing that? Just very lightly. So I'm making some defined dark lines and then just kind of flipping it out here. Maybe some like S lines. So his hair down here right above the darker is a little lighter. So I'm not trying to go super dark. It's going to come around over here. See how I'm curving around? So it's almost like I'm making the circle, but I'm making it with the hair. So I'm going to start out with a lighter and then we'll go into darker. So underneath his eye is going to curve around above that mustache. So we don't want it to go into the mustache. We're going to curve it around that. Curve it around the mustache. Okay. We're starting to look like a doggy here, aren't we? That is the goal. Chewbacca does have a very dog-like appearance, which I think is interesting because he's a very loyal friend. So kind of swirl it up. I also don't want it to be perfect because he is scruffy looking. So I want this one to be scruffy looking. Top of his head, I'm going to do about right up here, if you guys can see that. So that's as high as I'm going to go with his hair. He's got quite a bouffant happening here. So the hair is coming up. Now, again, I'm going very lightly here. So, and I'm actually going to start curving it in that direction. So it comes around. I'm going fast just because it helps me to stay free. If you go too slow with this, your lines might look less free. They're going to look more controlled. So just kind of scruff them together here. Pull them out. So all of these lines should be the same value. They shouldn't be too dark. They should not be as dark as we made the lines around his eyes. Okay? They should be much, much lighter. I'm going to scruff up the dark on his eyes a little bit more so they don't look so controlled. Put them in the direction that they're supposed to be going here. It's kind of like melding from dark to light. Okay. So he does have a bit of a chin where the hair comes out, and just like a beard, the hair comes out around the lips. See how I'm going in a different direction as I go around and then come back straight and then go back around. And we're going to go all the way up here to his mustache like this, all the way up. So I'm just going to curl it down under his chin here. So right under his chin, the hair curls a little bit. Again, you can start out going slow, but I encourage you to try doing this quickly because doing it more quickly will help you get a better likeness of Chewie, I think. Okay, so from here we're curling down. So we've got the defined curls here from his beard. He's got like a short beard, and then his neck hairs curl down underneath that beard. And we're curling, we're flipping out and flipping out. Look at how he's becoming Chewy. All right, so around his eye part and his face is lighter. And then when you get up here, it starts to get a little darker. So you want to keep around the eye part light, so dark, light. And then we're going to get a little bit darker up here. And my alarm is going off. Bear with me just a minute while I turn this alarm off. Last time it kept going off. Okay. Again, the alarm tells me if my video is getting to the point. So this is starting to look really good. It's starting to look like a Chewbacca. It's starting to look like a Wookiee. That's what I should say, right? But I think it specifically looks like Chewbacca. I'm optimistic. All right, so I'm basically just going back over my swirly lines here, just making them a little darker on his forehead. I'm keeping the light here though, because I want that part to be light. Yeah, sometimes his hair is brushed, so it would be more straight, but today it is not very brushed. So, all right. So as we go down, you know, you've got different values up here. You've got his eyes coming out here. The more you mess with it, the more seamless it's going to look. So okay, I am pretty satisfied with this. I think it looks super awesome. Got a little darker over here too though. So I'm gonna add that in, and then it starts to lighten up. So I'm not gonna do too much there. All right, and then we've got coming down into his shoulder. I missed his neck part here. Coming down. So you guys can continue to keep messing with this and batting at this. You can make his little shoulder strap thing here. It's got some boxes. So you can make that if you would like to. As it goes on his shoulder here. So yeah, and then you can scruff up the rest of his body however you see fit, nice and scruffy. So this is Chewy. Chewy. I'm going to leave his hair light there. So there we go. So there you have a Chewbacca. So let's see. That should be good enough for today. So I have done a couple of extra creatures, but Chewbacca, this is a good way to draw him. So it actually kind of looks like the wind is coming in from this direction. So I hope you guys have fun drawing him today. For our challenge, I just, that I'm going to post tomorrow, we're just going to draw another hairy character. So here's one that I did of an Ewok, because I think the Ewoks are cute, and it's just a good example. Look how kind of his hair has a distinct swirl to it, but it's still free. It just goes in a very clean direction. So for our challenge, after you do Chewy, you can choose another character with hair. That would be fun. But you guys have a good day with your drawing and a good rest of your week.